Welcome to this edition of Life Stuff. John Mcafee is tougher. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
So, John, you're a young dude, man. You've got a lot of mojo. What's the secret sauce? How do you do it?
Oh, you marry young women. That's what I did.
Yeah, and how old is your wife, John?
Janice is 37.
Miss Janice, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, wonderful. Thank you for setting this up for us.
Of course.
So Janice is 37 and I'm 74. That's exactly half my age, if you work it out.
Well, you got your mojo. So, John, you're a legend in the tech space and also in the crypto space. Going back to your early days on the virus scan side, McAfee and Associates, can you tell us what that life was like? What was it like back then in an industry that, I don't know, I guess wasn't looked down upon as crypto is?
Well, I mean, while it was a small company, I was having the best time of my life. I was doing what I loved. After it went public and got huge, we had stockholders and board meetings and a massive organization. It was no longer fun for me. I don't like sitting in board meetings. I don't like working personnel issues. I like inventing shit, right? So, but as a founder, it's hard since you've found something to not let go or to let go of those things which you don't really like doing. So I just walked away from all of it, and that was in 1993. I didn't stop working. I've started many companies, not just McAfee. There was Tribal Voice, which we sold to CMGI in 2004 for 17 million. There was Zone Labs, which we sold to Checkpoint Software in Israel for 400 million. I mean, I've just
Numbers.
my whole life I've been involved in development and software and digital engineering. This is just what I am. So it appears
to come easy for you, though, John. Does it really come easy, or do you have to spend a lot of time behind the scenes or in your head? Like, tell us what that process is like when an idea comes to you.
Okay, well, let me tell you a little about myself. There is no one on this earth lazier than me. When I went to college, I wanted to major in physics. Then I discovered that in order to get a degree in physics, you had to have as much mathematics as to get a degree in mathematics. I'm a young kid. I like partying and women, and Jesus, what would you do? So I chose mathematics. Why? Not just because it's half as hard, only half the work. It's because it just came easy to me. I never had to study, never had to write papers, never had to attend class. And in college, unlike high school, you don't have to, really. You show up for the test and the final exam and write whatever papers, and you're in. So I never went to class. I never did anything except, chase girls, go to frat parties, and get drunk and have fun.
And yet still you were able to turn your businesses into a success. I mean, where was your fuel? Like, what pushed you in your journey?
What now? Fuel?
What fueled you along the way? What pushed you? What was your drive? How'd you find it?
Entrepreneurism. I never wanted to work for anybody. I started at the age of 10 mowing the yards in my neighborhood, all of them. And in the wintertime, shoveling snow off the walks. I was the richest 10-year-old kid in the neighborhood. And as that progressed, I got a paper route and then started franchising them because they don't have paper routes anymore, probably, where the newspaper companies drop off a load of newspapers and then you wrap them up and you deliver them to 200 homes. I don't know if they still have that. But the paper boy was an entrepreneur. You bought the papers from the companies. Your job to sell those fuckers, right? So I started buying paper routes and people paying them off, $100 cash right now. Walk away, right? And then hiring kids to actually run the paper, to actually deliver the papers for me. So that was before I was 15. And I've always been interested in not working for somebody else, even though I've done it many times in my life, and learned a great deal from it. And the people I've chosen to work for are people like NASA, Lockheed. Back then it was just Lockheed, not Lockheed Martin. IBM, Univac. You probably don't even heard that name anymore. It's the second largest computer manufacturer, because I needed to learn operating system development, and you just can't do that sitting at home on your own. So yes, I've taken many jobs. Never worked in any of them for more than 2 years. Learned a lot from all of them, and only worked them when I had to.
And who are you?
That's laziness in manifestations. Pardon?
I said, yeah, that's quite a story. You had this desire to go out and find it, to build it. And so who were your role models? Who helped John Mcafee on his journey?
I didn't really have any back then. I mean, there were no computer scientists. I mean, there was no computer science. There were no classes in computers. No one even knew what they were.
Incredible.
I mean, I worked on the first process automation computer built by General Electric back in 1968. All right.
Yeah.
No one even heard of that. We didn't even have computer screens or keyboards back then, my friend. Switches on the front panel to program, 10,000 lines of code. So this is, it's all I've ever done, all I've ever known, all I've ever loved.
Who have been some of the most fascinating people that you've met along the way, the early techies?
Yeah, Jesus God. I mean, there's so fucking many. Steve Jobs probably stands out more than any. Steve, sort of a kindred spirit, did everything he damn well pleased, but did it well. Limited ego, very, very socially inept, like me in many cases. So certainly him. Nolan Bushnell stands out actually more than anybody. Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari. I don't know if you know anything about this. The first computer games. Okay? Still an icon of Silicon Valley. Those are two.
They would be two big ones. And how the early days with Microsoft and the Windows contract to getting the McAfee virus scan and that, I mean, there must have been a lot of competition back then. What made you go towards the virus aspect? What made you see that as the opportunity?
Well, because this was in 1987, maybe 86, 87, when the first computer virus was written in Lahore, Pakistan, by two brothers working at a computer repair shop. Well, no one had ever heard such a thing. My brother-in-law, it was on a Sunday morning, was reading the San Jose Mercury News. I was working at Lockheed Martin at the time, reading the San Jose Mercury News, and said, what's this about a computer virus? I grabbed the article and I read, a computer virus, what the fuck? And he described it with the ability to attach itself to other programs, to replicate itself, and to move from one computer to another. Well, fuck me, that's a living organism. Well, who would not be fascinated by that? So instantly, I'm thinking, how the fuck does that work? And then I go, oh, that's how it works. And as soon as I came up with the solution of that's how it works, instantly I go, well, this is how you stop it.
Interesting.
And so I wrote the first program.
Wow. And was there ever a virus that just drove you crazy? You're like, finding the cure, finding the fix? Was there one that just
absolutely. So here, listen, the war that was going on between virus writers and security people, and there was only me and Norton at that time. There's nobody else in the field. Peter Norton, John McAfee. So, and we were doing the best we could. We were sharing information. Because it was a horrendous thing. So the first thing, I came up with the idea, here's how you stop it. Okay, but stopping it depended upon identifying it first. Well, it was easy. I used to just take snippets of code which were unique and would not be replicated anywhere else, and I'd look for those snippets. And if I found them, there it is, I'd kill it. Then they started encrypting it. Okay, well, that was a piece of cake because the decryption routine is at the very front of the program. because you can't run an encrypted program without decrypting it first. And that decryption has to be the first branch of the program. So then what I would do is I would go through it and see, oh, that's it. And I would emulate the decryption, decrypt it, and then kill it. Then a virus called the whale virus came out. And that was built by a guy in Iceland, one of the most brilliant programmers in the fucking world. And they came up with a way of multiple encryptions and decryptions so that you could never tell what the encryption and decryption really was. I mean, you might decrypt it and try to run it, but the fucker wouldn't run, not a real program. I mean, and that frustrated me more than anything else. And I fixed it by brute force. I spent days, I didn't sleep for 3 or 4 days. And I'm in the office and people are worried, are you okay? Leave me alone. And I'm in the office and I keep looking at it. I keep looking at the code. And I keep looking at, and I'll run the virus in the test environment and look at its results. Kept looking and looking. And finally, after days of looking, I found a common sequence in every one of these iterations. Bang. Fix that. But that was the worst. That was the absolute worst.
That was the one to rule them all.
That was the worst one, yeah, the whale.
That was the whale. So do you see the on the virus side, do you see that getting into the crypto space?
No. First of all, no one uses viruses anymore. I mean, very few people even use technology to hack. Everything is social engineering now. I mean, this is why antivirus software doesn't work. And I told people 10 years ago, it no longer works because people go and spend days or weeks disassembling your code and trying to find a backdoor file. It's a lot of work. No, they have a bank of social engineers calling phone. Like, if I wanted to take over your telephone, and it happened to me 2 years ago, I would keep calling. Let's say you're with AT&T. Keep calling AT&T. Hi, my mother's dying, and I've lost my phone, and I have to have whatever. Yeah. And they will go, and you'll get a different SIM card, or you get that SIM card assigned to your new phone instead of the SIM card assigned to my fucking phone. And that didn't take any technical competence whatsoever. It just took a very persuasive personality. So this is the threat today. Good God, people, there's no more technical threat. All this encryption shit, there's nobody listening in the middle anymore. We're encrypted so the man in the middle can't hear it. Well, fuck, there's nobody in the middle anymore. They're at both ends. Software that's in your phone looking at the keys you're typing before you encrypt them, because you have to type it first before you can encrypt it. Or if it's voice, the same thing. They're listening. Video, they're watching. And on the other end, screen captures, which look at the same thing your friend is looking at after the decryption. So good God, people, that's where it's at. There's nobody in the middle. Decrypt, don't decrypt, it doesn't matter. We're in a different world.
So how do you safeguard yourself or protect yourself against threats that seem to be using your own device against you?
Well, common sense. I mean, don't go on strange sites. If you want to watch porn, watch it on somebody else's phone or computer. Let them get, affected, because 99% of everything that comes down from that site is infecting your fucking phone or your laptop or your pad, whatever. That's number one. Number two, don't fall for anything. It's also social engineering. Phishing things, that's social engineering. There's no technology there. Are you going to fall for this and click, yes, open that site, or not? Don't. I mean, if you don't know the person, then inviting you to go to a site is only one of two things: someone trying to fuck with you or someone trying to sell you something. And in either case, why bother? Common sense. That's all you can rely on. There are no protections. We have no privacy.
Good counsel. Now, kind of changing topic, moving over to cryptocurrency. I read recently that your prediction Obviously, you mentioned you would do something to your own body, and I don't know if you plan on actually doing that, but that seems to be quite a bit.
Well, let's get real. No, let's get real. Nobody eats their dick on national television. But aside from that, let's get real about numbers for a second. There's only 21 million bitcoins. 17 million have been mined, 3 million left. It will take many years to deplete those 3 million. 7 million have been lost already. And every day we lose 3 times the number of coins that are mined. Now you run those fucking numbers.
Yeah.
We have a system which is growing in acceptance, and if you deny that, then you're not out using it. And we have a system which is decreasing in volume and numbers. The supply of Bitcoin will approach zero eventually, and the demand will be almost infinite. And you tell me what the price is going to be by the end of 2020. When people figure that out, see, no one's looking at the reality of numbers. No one's looking at, oh my God, we're losing Bitcoins. Of course we are. People are forgetting their fucking wallet IDs and their passwords and their 12-word keys. Good God, of course they're losing shit. This is the reality of Bitcoin. So if you see that reality, well, $1 billion seems excessively low to me.
Well said. Craig Wright has gone on record to claim that he is the founder of Bitcoin. What's your take on that?
There was no founder of Bitcoin. There were a bunch of people working together. Craig Wright was certainly one of them. Adam Back was another. A bunch of them. We all know who they are. Satoshi, however, is the gentleman who wrote the white paper. All right? The Bitcoin white paper signed his name, Satoshi Nakamoto. Craig Wright is not that person. That's all I'm saying. He's absolutely not. And if you listen, anybody can confirm what I'm saying by read the white paper. There are some unique things in it. But anyway, you can run authorship software against it or use your common sense. Every word that has alternate spellings for both American and British are all spelled in the British way. The minority opinion for how many spaces after a period, minority opinion, is 2. Few people do that. Every single sentence in the white paper has 2 spaces after a period. Now, why don't you look at the people who are possible candidates? There's only 2 who are British and only 1 who double spaces after a period, for God's sake. Do you want to know who it is? It'll take you 10 minutes. What's wrong with people? I don't get it anymore. But yes, of course, Craig Wright was involved. Fuck me, but an involvement started back in 1985 with a paper published by Dr. Adam Back, talking about hashing and possible electronic currencies. And from that, very slowly, Bitcoin grew, not from the bowels of our government secret programs or IBM or Samsung or Apple, but no, from the fucking people themselves. This is what's magic about cryptocurrency and the blockchain. The fact that it belongs to us. And governments are trying to take it from us by creating their own and demanding that we use theirs, or like India, China, it's illegal. You may not use cryptocurrencies. Who cares? Can't be stopped. The laws in India have stopped no one from using cryptocurrency. In China, when they closed all the exchanges, they just moved to Hong Kong and everything went on as before. You can't stop this. This is of the people and must stay with the people. And you cannot, please God, buy into the propaganda that governments are now telling you. It must be controlled for your protection. No, I'm sorry. Yes, it's a free-for-all and it's a wild, wild west. And so you need to take care of yourself by, number 1, educating yourself. Don't go on to a distributed exchange like mine and someone created a coin on the fly and is promoting it as the next greatest thing, pie in the sky coin, and you buy it. Well, I'm sorry, that's your fucking fault. Okay? You have to take responsibility for yourself in a world where everyone has their own personal sovereignty, meaning you own your body and your mind, not a government, not someone who can say, I own your body and you're not going to put marijuana into it, or in the 20s, or alcohol, or cocaine, or heroin, or anything that I don't want you to put into the body that I own. Do you want to live like that, people? You are living like that. And right here in this technology, a world-changing technology belonging to us, first one in 75 fucking years, that belongs to us. And you're going to ignore the impact, you're going to ignore the possibilities and the implications in your own lives and the lives of those that you love. No, wake the fuck up. We have in our hands the greatest weapon ever handed to sovereign individuals. It is control of our own financial situation. A currency owned by no one.
Roger,
It can't be.
yeah,
Go ahead.
John, Roger Ver said about a couple weeks back, it is the single greatest opportunity at wealth creation that this generation or future generations will ever see, the cryptocurrency space. What are your thoughts on that?
Wealth creation is not my interest. My interest is in freeing yourselves through control of your own wealth. Big difference. You can create wealth easily if you are not hindered by government regulations, corporate structures, and double taxation, and adherence to unbelievably bizarre regulations, which is what you have to do now to be an entrepreneur, to free yourself from that, so that wealth creation becomes possible for everyone. But more importantly, to control the currency of that wealth. Because right now, US dollars, anything. The Fed can increase the supply, making your hard-earned dollars less valuable, or increase it or decrease it. They can monitor through the central banks and your bank what money's coming in and where you're spending it and why and to whom and from whom. That is true control, because without the fiat dollar or other currency, you can't pay rent, send your kids to school, get medical care, can't buy a house or a car, you can't do anything. It is the basis of control for your entire life. And cryptocurrency is, for the first time, an opportunity to walk out of that financial cage into a world of total freedom.
Wow, incredible, John. So tell us, what are you doing right now? How are you helping to push the to push the freedom aspect forward when it comes to crypto? Because there are many exchanges. The way that their design is remarkably different than the one you've designed. Would you talk about that?
I mean, I did just come out with a beta version of a distributed exchange, the McAfee Dexcom. It's truly, I mean, the first truly decentralized and truly distributed exchange. Truly decentralized, we control nothing. You don't have to input your name, your address, your social security number. Don't have to send us copies of your driver's license. Don't have to give us an email. Nothing. Pass through the portal and start trading. You want to list a coin? How much is it going to cost you? Nothing. There's a button at the top of the screen. Add new token. Put in all the technical details. You're now added to the exchange. At what cost? Zero. So we are, not we, McAfee necessarily, but we as distributed exchanges are your future. Because a centralized exchange, two things will happen. They will try to side with the individual and get shut down by the government and the powers that be. Or they will see the inevitable and submit to whatever the government's asked them to do. Monitor you, control you, pass information about you. Do you see? In either case, it does not bode well for individual sovereignty. Or the decentralized exchanges where you don't have to input anything, so there's nothing to monitor, can't ever be shut down because our exchange is a collection of smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. Unfortunately, we've already done it. We can't ever change it. It's an indelible record and part of reality. And so I can't shut it down. When the SEC comes to me and says, "What have you done?" I go, "Oh, Jesus, I forgot. You guys might have wanted to look at this, right? Is that it? Jesus, I'm so sorry. What can I do?" Or I'll tell you what, I'll make an exchange just for you, SEC. No, nothing. They can't do anything. Can't shut it down. If they shut down the domain, McAfeeDex.com, doesn't matter. We've already got 13 different portals up. The end of the year, we'll have 100, next year 1,000. So it doesn't matter. Can't be shut down, can't be controlled, and can't be monitored. Good God, people, what more do you want? But if we don't have these things, you will be slaves again in a system where you have more burdens because they know more about you and your finances, what you're doing.
It seems to be a scary world we're living in, where anytime a new asset class, in this case cryptocurrency, comes in, or the people's need and desire to not be controlled by the bankers and to bring it back into their own hands, that the government seems to want to take it over and regulate something that they believe that they understand. And I think the problem is they don't fully understand it, and they are now asking for guidance in the market. Who do you look to? Like who's been an influencer in the space that you look up to, John, that you think represents the end user, like myself and like the other cryptonaires out there that are listening in?
Okay, I'm not sure about the question. I heard you talk about the government's attempt to control and things. What's the question exactly?
All right, so my question for you is, who do you look up to? Who is one of our biggest advocates in the market outside of yourself? Who out there is an influencer in the space is somebody that you respect?
You're not going to like my answer. I mean, actually, the only one I truly look up to is Jihan Wu, who's the founder of Bitmain, the creator of the only real Bitcoin mining computers, and others. He's got computers for many of the mining. He's got AI development. And the reason is because he is clearly one of the most powerful men in China and therefore much of the world. And yet he is the most humble, gracious, gentle, and soft-spoken individuals I have ever seen. So I'm not looking up to him because of what he has done or what he is capable of or his intellect. No, I'm looking up to him because of his fundamental character. Jesus, if you could meet him, I mean, I'm sorry. That's the one I look up to.
That's the one you look up to. And final words you have for cryptonaires of all ages out there throughout the world, John?
Whoa, final words.
Final words. I promised Janice this wouldn't be painful.
Privacy coins and distributed exchanges are the two weapons that you have now here to fight off, the greatest powers on this earth, the governments that control you. And that's my final words. And thank you so much.
John, thank you for your time. Miss Janice, thank you again for arranging it.
Yes, no problem. You're welcome.
John, thanks again for talking to us and sharing your story. You're a pioneer, and you are by far you're a cryptonaire, man. Thanks for everything. Thanks for supporting us.
Thanks for having me on, and you've been very polite. And anytime you want me to come on again, if you can work through this woman, we'd be happy to do so. All right.
I will hold you to that, John. And Miss Janice, thank you, and we'll be in touch.